This podcast is made possible by the listener members of Nashville Public Radio.
This is the Nash Villager Podcast. It's December 9th, 2025. On this day in 1983, one of the top advisors to President Ronald Reagan made comments about hunger that made a lot of people see red. Edwin Meese told reporters there wasn't any proof that there were kids in this country without enough to eat. And he suggested that charitable efforts to feed poor people were being taken advantage of by folks who didn't need that help. He said, and this is a quote, "People go to soup kitchens because the food is free and that's easier than paying for it." The president tried to walk back those comments. He said Meese was taken out of context. But in truth, the larger context was a fight going on at the time between Congress and the White House. The Speaker of the House in 1983 was Democrat Tip O'Neill, and he claimed the administration was refusing to distribute millions of dollars worth of surplus commodities to the poor, despite Congress passing legislation saying they should get that food. A nonprofit called the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities weighed in. They issued a report on the data around hunger and food insecurity at the time that left absolutely no question what prompted the publication. Its title was, "Yes, Mr. Meese, there is hunger in America." I'm Nina Cardona, and this is your daily digest of what's happening around Middle Tennessee with historical context from Nashville Public Radio, WPLN News. We were certainly reminded of the hunger that remains in this nation during the recent government shutdown, when food assistance went on pause until federal leaders could agree on a spending bill. You may have heard WPLN's reporting about Middle Tennesseans waiting in lines for hours to get help from food banks. Talking to them, looking at what they had to do to get that emergency help, it was clear that taking the free food wasn't an easy option. Which isn't to say there aren't some folks out there trying to game the system. There probably were a few. But the data shows that the economy has left a lot of people in our community behind. Roughly 14% of the state's households have income below the poverty line. And according to the United Way of Tennessee, another 30% are folks who haven't dropped below that line, but who live right on the razor's edge between getting by financially and falling behind. These are folks who work. In fact, a lot of them do the kind of jobs we all directly depend on every day. They take care of kids, stock shelves, wait tables, collect the trash, deliver packages. But the pay is low enough that they only just get by. That means that almost half of our state's residents are in the kind of position where one big doctor's bill or one overdraft fee could mean they have to start skipping meals or not filling a prescription. That's an incredibly difficult way to live. It's a recipe for hunger. And it's the backstory for all of those long food bank lines last month. And keep in mind, those statistics show how many people are on the bubble when the current level of food benefits are available. Without that help, you'd see even more falling into a crisis situation. But will those benefits keep coming at current levels? It actually seems that last month's problem was just the overture to what could become an extended drama. The federal government is going to start asking states to pay for part of the SNAP program, a.k.a. food stamps. Tennessee's Human Resources Department is asking for $77 million additional dollars in the next state budget to cover federal funding cuts to the SNAP program. And on top of that, the more errors a state makes in managing the benefits, the larger the portion that state will have to pay. If Tennessee's error rate remains the same, the state will have to provide 10% of the benefit money. This June, 23 governors signed a letter warning that the changes to SNAP could make it impossible to keep operating the program in their states. Governor Bill Lee did not sign on to that message, but he also dragged his feet, compared to leaders in other states, about helping fill the gap last month when SNAP was on pause. His administration has tended to let other federal money for needy families stockpile rather than find ways of giving it to the people who were doing without. And he's already made it clear that some other pricey line items are ones he prioritizes, like expanding the number of available school vouchers. If the economic forecasts are right and Tennessee's about to have a tight budget year, there's a big question regarding hunger in the state. Will our leaders see value in picking up the slack where food benefits are concerned? In the meantime, if you're interested in this issue, our daily show, This is Nashville, had an episode last month really diving into hunger in our community. And you can listen to that anytime in the This is Nashville podcast feed. In just a few minutes, a new artistic identity for one Nashville musician. That's coming up after the newscast.
best journalism in the nation. That's an apt description for a lot of what you hear on WPLN News. The proof this spring is in the array of journalism awards coming in. The Supermajority podcast won 3 national contests. Our investigative reporting, partnered with ProPublica, was named some of the best education coverage in the country. And for arts and culture, This is Nashville and our music journalism are being honored on the national stage. We're proud, and you can be too.
Here's the latest from WPLN News. Nashville is altering its zoning code. It's an attempt to expand the affordable housing stock. WPLN Cynthia Abrams reports 2 measures championed by city planners have been approved by Metro Council.
One bill lets more people build detached units. That's things like garage apartments or in-law suites. The other bill would add 2 new zoning districts, in addition to Nashville's host of existing options. Councilmember Jennifer Gamble, one of the sponsors of the bill, says the new districts will allow for different types of middle housing. Think quadplexes or courtyard apartments.
So these new housing types are smaller footprint, require less land, require smaller square footage to try to keep those costs down, but still providing quality housing for families to invest in.
These new districts will not be automatically applied to any neighborhoods. Rather, council members or property owners can seek to rezone properties using the new options. Cynthia Abrams, WPLN News.
Other zoning bills from the Planning Department are still under council consideration. Those seek to limit building heights in some neighborhoods, change the process for approving duplexes, and create an incentive program for developers to build more affordable multifamily housing. The dean of Belmont University's College of Law will step down after this school year. Alberto Gonzalez, who served as U.S. Attorney General under George W. Bush, has headed Belmont Law for 11 years. In July, the law school achieved nearly a 97% first-time pass rate on the Tennessee bar exam, the highest in the state. Gonzalez plans to spend more time with family while continuing to support causes he cares about. The university says a national search for his replacement is now underway. Tennessee State University has surpassed its goal to reduce budget deficits and increase revenue. TSU President Dwayne Tucker recently gave an update about how the school is meeting its financial goals. Those are tied to a $96 million deal that TSU made with the state. That deal lets the school reallocate funds to support its immediate financial needs, like new buildings and electrical upgrades. The Tennessean reports that TSU has already exceeded one of these goals, reducing its budget deficit by about $13 million. Tucker also said that TSU is working to quickly resolve audit findings and is on track to restore financial stability sooner than expected. A lung infection tied to renovations and yard work is cropping up in Williamson and Murray counties. The Tennessee Department of Health put out a warning to health providers last week, and news station WKRN obtained a copy. The advisory says to watch out for histoplasmosis, a fungal infection that starts in the lungs. It spreads through spores, which are in soil contaminated with bird or bat feces. TDH says the fungus is endemic across the state. People tend to get infected after the demolition phase of a renovation or after clearing brush where birds have nested. Common symptoms include fever, headache, cough, shortness of breath, and chest pain. There have been at least 18 cases reported in Williamson and Murray counties since September. Signs have emerged that suggest Christian nationalism is becoming more mainstream and politically influential. Earlier this year, President Trump established a White House faith office, installing controversial leaders in key roles. And early last week, a pastor with ties to the ideology accompanied House Speaker Mike Johnson to a rally for then-congressional candidate Matt Van Epps here in Tennessee. And the upsurge has some feeling distraught. On our daily show, This is Nashville, a caller asked Christianity Today's Russell Moore what he thinks should be done in the face of this rising movement.
If you had a way to have us take action against the rise of Christian nationalism, what would you ask us to do?
I would say don't get cynical. Part of the problem is the issues seem too big. You can't fix the country or the church, broadly speaking, by yourself. But what you can do is to not yield to cynicism, demoralization, giving up. Don't yield to that.
You can hear the full episode in the This is Nashville podcast feed. Kroger plans to shutter a fulfillment center in Nashville early next year and says it will lay off 132 workers. That's as the grocery chain is retooling how it handles online orders. Last month, Kroger announced it's ramping up relationships with Instacart, DoorDash, and Uber Eats. The company expects those moves to drive hundreds of millions of dollars in profits next year. Nashville saw another relatively slow month in home sales in November, down 6% compared to the same month a year ago. The Greater Nashville realtors say a slowdown is common near the end of the year, but throughout this year, the trade group has found several months that trailed behind 2024. The median sale price remains around $500,000, and single-family homes are spending 57 days on the market on average. Vanderbilt star quarterback Diego Pavia is now the university's first ever finalist for the Heisman Trophy. The award for the top player in college football will be presented in New York on Saturday. Pavia set a school record for passing yards this season while leading the Commodores to their first 10-win season in program history.
You'll find more news anytime at WPLN.org.
There are lots of reasons why artists change their names. Prince did it in protest. Nashville R&B singer-songwriter Kyleigh signaled she was serious about establishing her artistic identity by dropping her high school nickname Cash K this year. Senior music writer Julie Height talked with her about how her new EP reflects that transformation.
When I listen back to the music that you made as Cash K, I can hear the formation of serious ambition, and I wonder what you hear.
Does it make you feel good the way she looks at you?
I definitely noticed a difference in the subject matter. This project has a lot more live and acoustic sounding things versus the Cash K music was a little bit more MIDI and stuff like that. Yeah, I think you can tell how much I've matured.
How did you determine it was time to put Cash K aside as a moniker and move forward as Kyleigh?
I guess for a year, I was kind of doing this inner turmoil thing where I was Cash K, who is she? I felt like there was a stigma kind of attached to the name Cash K. And I was starting to feel pressured to uphold a certain persona. And I wanted my music to be just a creative extension of the truth of who I am. I think Kyleigh is the perfect way to do it. I can grow with that.
I mean, you are part of this new generation R&B scene here. I mean, you are helping it grow because you've made the decision to put down roots here and go about the business of career building. How are you making that part of your story?
I try to just talk about Nashville and the community here as much as possible. Anytime anyone's ever asking me, why did you choose Nashville or why have you chosen to stay? I just always go back to the support system and the amazing collaborators and people that are here that I just couldn't trade for the world.
That includes Summer Joy, your present or former roommate.
Present, yeah.
And musicians like Tiandre Holmes. When you were taking up subject matter that could be really vulnerable, sensitive stuff, what difference did that baseline of trust make?
I think it probably made a world of difference. The subject matter was all really personal things, and I feel if I were going into a room full of strangers and being hey, you guys don't know me, but let's write a song about my dad who was never around. Stuff that I was kind of working and maturing and healing through. So I think being surrounded by people who are my best friends who have gotten to know me and I've seen even some of this stuff unfold and helped me through it. I think that makes all the difference.
People think of Nashville obviously as a songwriting and recording hub. It has this reputation for professionalism, but I don't think people always associate R&B with that. Tell me about how you have, through the relationship you've built with your producer, Robbie Ricucci, worked together to develop your sound and polish it.
We're kind of in this stage of an ever-evolving sound. With the EP, the tracks are so multi-dimensional. We kind of coined the term Kyleigh music. We came up with 5 different versions of each song, going back and forth on should it feel like this and should it feel like that.
Is it too late? Can you hear me?
During the opening song, Confessions, it sounds like you're building up to these kind of arpeggios, maybe not technically arpeggios, where you're stretching your vocal range and it feels like you're opening yourself up. So how do you feel like that song kind of sets the tone?
The whole intro part of it
is basically me saying, like, I have a lot of things that I haven't talked about. I haven't dove into this stuff. What's going to happen to me if I do open myself up like that arpeggio section? I was hoping to capture this feeling of kind of like screaming into a void.
I want to know, in the making of your song LMLM, how did you take something that is so emotionally complex and craft it into a hook that actually stays with you? You don't think of a pop song as being able to carry that kind of story.
I didn't want it to be heavy, especially because I feel like the song itself is a little bit cheekier. It's not like, woe is me. It's kind of just like, I knew this was going to happen. So I wanted it to kind of have a sassier feel that makes you feel like maybe she's more like self-realized, so she can bop around to this.
Isn't it just like you to love me and leave me alone? And isn't it just like you to see me and act like you don't?
I mean, it really is a song that you can hear in a lot of different ways. I know that you were exploring inconsistencies in your relationship with your dad, but it could apply to a lot of different kinds of relationships.
People who have heard the song are coming to me being like, oh, it's about your dad? I thought it was just about like a love relationship. That's great. I want you guys to be able to apply whatever this is about for you. That's what the whole purpose of this music is to make you feel better, make you feel seen, heard, understood.
That my heart is too guarded. You say you wanted to be there, but you couldn't be farther. So why don't you just let me be? Why so hard to set me free? I never gave up wondering where you'd gone. But isn't it just
Senior music writer Julie Height interviewed the artist Kyleigh. You can find an extended Q&A at WPLN.org. We do this roundup of Nashville news every weekday, so subscribe in your favorite podcasting app to make sure you never miss an episode. And if you like this, you'll probably enjoy the Nashvillager newsletter, too. You'll get perspective from more of my colleagues at Nashville Public Radio and links to the stories we're following. Sign up for those daily emails at WPLN.org/Nashvillager. Thanks so much for listening. Let's make this day a good one, and we'll catch back up tomorrow.